Being loved by your parents and feeling loved by your parents are completely different. And I think it's important to talk about that because a lot of times when we talk about being no contact, people are like, oh, but your parents love you so much. But yeah, sure. But do I feel loved by them is the question. And really, what more parents need to focus on is, do your kids feel loved by you? Sure, you love them. But most of the time, it's like, yeah, that's my kid. I love them. I birthed them, or I helped make them, or, whatever. But if your kid doesn't feel the same way through your interactions, then I'm sorry to tell you, but it really doesn't count. It really doesn't count because it doesn't make a difference because your child. Sorry, let me stop riveting. I was just looking for my microphone so y'all can hear me a little bit more clearly. There's a difference between what they feel from you and what you're actually saying. I think parents say all the time, I love my kids. I'm sure that on some level, my parents do love me. However, are we experiencing a healthy kind of love from you? And I think that a lot of parents, because they didn't get what they needed either, don't really know what that looks like. But the problem is when you're not seeking the information to do things differently for your own children. Okay? So I can say that I love you, but then do my actions reflect that? If I'm constantly putting you down, if I'm constantly calling you words that are not helpful, that are harmful, does that communicate love? Do I feel loved by you? If when I need you, you're not available, do I feel loved by you? If you're not present, do I feel loved by you? And I think really a good way to look at this is like, if your partner was your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, was doing the same actions, taking the same actions, would you feel loved by that person? Would you stay in that relationship? And I think a lot of times parents like decide, oh, I get to just do whatever because my kid is always going to love me because I'm here, I'm present, or and sometimes not, right? Because I am the parent. They still have to respect me, but do they love you? And I think we all love our parents, right? Like that is our first relationship is the one between us and our parents. So there is a deep love there. We spend more time with them than anybody else in our lives, especially if you have a more healthy dynamic. But how is that dynamic impacting you? What is happening in the interactions between the two, three of you, maybe more, and how is that impacting you? I can say all day long, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. But until I feel that, until there is evidence that speaks to that, you don't love me. Some parents do things that they say are out of love, and we can take the physical punishment aspect of that, right? I'm doing this because I love you. But love is not harmful. True love is not harmful. Do we get hurt by people we love? Sometimes, yes. But when you are doing things you know are harmful and you're not choosing to rectify that in any way or choosing another way, that is not love. We get hurt by people we love because we love them, right? That is something that just happens. There are miscommunications, there are challenges in relationships, there are ebbs and flows that are going to happen, and someone is going to get hurt at some point along the way. That is, on the foundation level, unavoidable, right? But there are some things that just shouldn't be done, that we have to think more about. And speaking from the perspective of a child who, again, sure, my parents love me, but when they're not able to show love to me, when they're not able to show up in the way that I need them, when they're not what I need, when I'm having some of the lowest points in my life, that doesn't feel like love to me. When my parents are the ones tearing me down, that doesn't feel like love to me. So I think a lot of times parents want you to just focus on what I say and not what I do, but what you do is critical. How you show up, what actions that you're taking, because you're choosing what you're doing. Now, sometimes we make mistakes. Parents are human as well. We are not denying that fact. However, it is up to you to do your absolute best to make choices that reflect love to your child. And it does matter. What experiences is your child having with you? What experiences do you have with your parents, right? So it goes both ways. I think that both sides are impacted deeply. I think that once you become a parent, there's a whole different responsibility, but somehow there's like a disconnect between what your parents did to you that you hated and the same actions that you are continuing to your child. And I understand that a big part of that is I don't know what else to do. But you have to learn at some point. Like at some point, if you truly love your child, then you will work to get better. But I think a lot of parents want to put the expectations on their child. So they want to put the responsibility of the relationship on the child. And it's not the child's responsibility, it is the adults, it is the parents. You are responsible for upholding that relationship, not them. Your kids naturally love you. Okay, like that is kind of like just present from day one. The same way parents will say, oh, I loved you as soon as I knew that I was pregnant or that we were having you or, whatever. Kids are the same way. As soon as I was born, I loved you. But do I feel loved by you when we talk? Or we have conversations when I mess up? How does love show up there? Right? When I don't do exactly what you think I should do, how does love show up? What are you teaching me about love and what's acceptable? One challenge that really frustrates me is that a lot of times parents will do things, but then when your child goes and gets in a relationship with someone else, they're like, why are you accepting that? Well, because of what love, what I was taught that love was from a very young age, because I think, 0 to like 5, things are cute, right? And we let things slide by and oh, you're just so new and all of that. But once your child really starts having a voice, voicing an opinion, making their own choices, 6 or 7, they're getting out of that I just want to please mommy and daddy to, oh, I actually can make choices of my own. What makes me feel good? Right? Which is why they start like, oh, sneaking a cookie from the cookie jar or, things like that. And it's because they're starting to understand I am a separate being from my parents and not everything is about pleasing them. But the problem is when parents respond to that in a way that is not loving. They respond to that as in, you're hurting me by not making the decisions that I feel like you should make every time. But they're not going to, ever. Okay? Not always, not all the time. They have to choose and make their own choices, their own decisions, and you have to learn to be okay with that. It just is what it is, right? And that is challenging. I get that. That is very challenging. because I have to put my ego aside and let you grow. And sometimes that means letting you be disappointed. Sometimes that means letting you be hurt. But if I love you, I'm going to do all that I can to try to protect you. But that doesn't mean taking your opportunities away. Your opportunities to learn a lesson, right? Because sometimes you only learn by going through something. And if I'm taking that away from you every day, no, don't do that. Don't. You're taking away opportunities to grow, but that's not what we're talking about today. How do you make sure that your child feels loved by you, honored by you, respected by you? Because that is important. If I feel like my parents don't respect me, how does that make me feel on the inside? If I feel like my parents don't love me, how does that make me feel on the inside? When I don't feel honored by my parents, because we always want to throw that honor your father or your mother. But what about honoring your child? So if I don't feel honored by my parents, really the biggest thing is, how do I ever feel honored or respected by anybody else? If my parents, the number one people, the number one person, 1 and 2 people who are supposed to be first in my life, do not show me love and respect and honor in the way that I deserve, how do I then expect it from anyone else, including myself? How? How do I know what love really looks like? Thank you, Mrs. Nature, for all of the likes. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're here. I am learning what to expect from the world, from partners, by my parents. But if I don't feel that, not just I heard the words, but they showed me what it looked like, they were an example to me. Because then when I get in relationships like with a significant other and they're showing me something different, I know to cut that off. But if a significant other is coming in and they're able to harm me, but then tell me they love me, my brain has already been programmed to accept that that's what love is. My brain is like, oh, we know this. We know how to function in this. We've been doing it our whole lives. We've been doing it since day one. Familiar with this. We know exactly how to respond. But then when true, real love comes along, it's like, I don't know. I don't know about this. This doesn't feel familiar. There's no hurt here. I'm waiting on the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting for you to do something else to hurt me and then make up for it by, some parents make up for it with gifts, some make up for it with affection, some make up for it with words, so many different ways. And I'm waiting on you to do that. So then we don't know how to have healthy relationships because this is what we were taught that love is. But then parents will sure shame you for the relationships that you choose. And I'm like, you know that you had a lot to do with this decision, right? Mommy and daddy issues are not some fake thing, right? We know that those exist, but we're not, as parents, doing something to prevent those things from happening. How can you make your child feel more loved by you? One is taking the time to learn them as an individual and learning to respect who they are naturally. Not with you pulling the strings, not with you telling them how to be, how to respond, what to respond to. Like, oh, you don't get to be mad about that. Why? But I am mad. You don't get to cry about that. Why? Because I am crying. I am sad. You don't get to throw a fit about us not doing what I told you we were going to do, but I'm disappointed. You have let me down. You are disrupting the trust that I have for you. So, learning your child and what they need from you on an individual level. Mrs. Nature, you showing out with these likes. I appreciate you, boo. Especially if you have more than one child, they are not going to be the same. They are not going to react to the same things in the same ways, and you don't get to make them. It's interesting because me and my sister, my middle sister in particular, didn't get along growing up. You know why? Because my dad was always comparing us. When I would do something he didn't like, well, why can't you just be more like your sister? Why can't you just do what she does? As if what she does is better. And it drove a wedge between us. But what we didn't know is that he was doing the same shit to the other one. When I was one, I'm a Scorpio. And they should have understood because both of my parents are Scorpios. I don't get over stuff quick. I'm not. I'm going to sit in my feelings until I feel better about it. And I don't want to talk to you, right? I don't want to have a conversation with you. I don't want to interact with you. But he's like, why can't you just get over it like her? First of all, her just getting over it is a trauma response to you. That is her trying to hurry up and fix things so she doesn't have to sit in the pain. So she doesn't have to sit in the hurt. She is avoiding it by, okay, well, if I hurry up and I make jokes and I'm funny and I'm, whatever, and I'm kikiing, then everybody's good again. That was a trauma response. But I'm like, no, I'm not about to act like you didn't hurt me when you just did. Are you kidding me? No, you don't get to do that at all. Learning who your child is and what they need from you and accepting them for who they are, not just for who you want them to be. Because it's not fair to them. It's not fair to the siblings. Because we were fighting, but we learned later in adulthood, oh, he was doing the same thing to you? Huh. Wow. We hated each other for no good reason at all. No good reason. And our parent drove that wedge in between us. Our parents did that. The people who were supposed to love us and protect us and foster a healthy relationship between us was dividing us. Now they would tell us, oh, y'all need to look out for each other. Y'all need to do this and be nice and that's all you have and blah, 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 blah. And it's the same thing. But what are we feeling? What are you influencing? What are you showing to us? What example are you setting? How are you setting us up for positive relationships between one another? You're not. Learning their dislikes, their likes, what motivates them. Because you want a belt to motivate all of them. But that ain't gonna work for all of them. Some will be like, yeah, hit me, bro. Hit me. While the other one's like, nope. Don't hit me. I don't need that. Use your words. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you have to learn who your child is on an individual level and show them love in the way that they need to receive it, not just the way that you want to give it. Like, you want them to just accept whatever you give them. But that's not fair. They're human. So in any other relationship, would you be okay with that? Like, oh, just accept whatever they offer you. And most of the time, it's because you are accepting a low quality love in your life. Me and all my sisters looking at our parents' relationship like, girl, what is you doing? Why are you still with him? He is not taking care of you the way that we believe that you deserve to be taken care of. Now, he was doing the basic shit, he was doing the basics. I gotta try to stop cussing on this live. But it just comes out. But like, girl, they're like, why are you accepting this? This is crazy. And if your kids can see that there is something not right in this relationship, then girl, you know? So when you already are accepting a low quality level of love in your life, whether that's by your partner, your parents, your siblings, your friends, then you're going to expect that your kids are just going to do the same thing. Well, I'm accepting it, so why can't you? I'm dealing with it. And that was probably like the biggest problem with my family. It's like, why can't you just get over it? Because I'm not. Because the way that I was raised, because the things that happened to me have impacted me on an emotional level, a mental level that I cannot even describe to you. Like, that shit hurts. And I still have to deal with it every day, even though childhood is over. It shows up constantly. Right? Somebody asked me the other day, oh, why do you think this if I do this? And I was like, daddy issues probably. Like, I'm sure that's what it is. And also because I was very right. But, whatever. So, you are setting up the foundation for the way that your children also look for love in others. Not just you, but also in themselves. If my parents taught me I am only deserving of this low quality kind of love, how do I learn to love myself? How? What does that even look like? I have spent the last 2-3 years having to learn what it looks like to love and honor myself. Because my parents did not show me what that looks like. They told me, what they said was, oh, it's in the way that you dress. You need to dress modest. Honey, no. It's not. It's in loving my body fully. They said it's covering up, hiding everything. No, it's not. It's loving myself out loud. Loving my body at every single stage that it is in. Do I have to show all of it to the world? No. But what I want to show, I'm going to. Right? Self-love, not accepting low quality versions of love. And unfortunately, I had to make the decision that I wouldn't accept it from my parents either. And that is why I have no contact. Because as long as I'm accepting it from you, I am communicating to my mind, my heart, and my body that that is okay. That is acceptable. And you know what? My partners in dating, in friendships, it is being reflected right back to me. Because I'm not setting a standard for anything else. I'm not saying, hey, no, that's not okay. I want this kind of love. I want a love that honors me, that respects me, that makes me feel love, not just says it. Because words talk is cheap, honey. Very cheap. And I'm an expensive bitch. Okay? So I'm not settling for that. Not even from my parents, and it had to start there. When I tell you, when I went no contact, my relationships and dating started to skyrocket. Every single time that I would pour more into myself and say yes to more of what I want for my life and no to what I don't want, every time I would go on another date, it's a higher caliber of person. Every single time. Because I'm like, no, don't like that. Cut it off. No, that's not acceptable. More, please. More, please. And every time I do that, every time I honor myself in that way, I attract better for my life in every single area. The more that I pour love into myself, the more that my business becomes aligned with the version of myself that is loved and is able to receive love. But I had to learn what my parents couldn't teach me. And unfortunately, for me to learn that lesson, they had to go. And that's just the fact of the matter. And it sucks, right? I do love my parents. I do. But I love myself more now. More than to be treated like garbage. More than to be disrespected. More than to be ignored and not considered. I don't want that in my life. And if I'm not going to accept it from anybody else, I can't accept it from my parents either. Do I think that there's a way for some people to still have a relationship and a connection with their parents and grow and learn all of these things? Yes, but you're going to have some strong ass boundaries. And really show yourself in other ways how you want to receive love. Show the universe in different ways how you want to receive love. Or else you're going to continue to attract what you don't want, because you've already shown the universe that I am willing to settle. And sorry, but that just ain't me. I ain't settling for shit. So what do your kids need from you as a parent? What do you need from your parents? And are you requiring that? So my challenge for you as parents is to ask your child, when do you most feel loved by me? Now, the second question is going to take a little ego hit. You can survive it. If you feel like they can survive your comments and your criticism and your judgments, you can survive this. But when do you feel the least loved by me? And allow them to be honest, without punishment, without you, no. Let them answer and say, okay, I hear you. I will work to do better on that. How can I change that for you? Not just I'm going to change it in the way that I feel like I want to change it, but how can I change that for you? In what way can I make sure that that is being communicated clearly to you? And that's it. Okay? And then work to really put those things into action. If they say, oh, I feel loved most by you when... Now, some kids, depending on their age, it's going to be like gifts or things like that. But, I mean, if that's their love language, that's just their love language. And you can find creative ways to do that without, like, breaking the bank. Like, no, you don't have to go buy your kid a new toy every single day because that's the way that they say that they feel most loved by you. I think it's just they want you to think of them. And when you present them with something that makes, that communicates, I was thinking about you, and they are receiving, like, that's just how they love. So you have to get very creative on what ways can you do that, because it doesn't have to be anything expensive. right? It could just be like, oh, I got your favorite drink. I put your favorite snacks on the grocery list, right? So, in what ways can you show them love in the way that connects with them the best? Okay? Okay, this felt really good. I'm glad that you all were here. Check out some of the other videos that I've posted about going no contact and relationship between kids and parents. And we will talk more soon. If you have any questions or ideas for lives or for videos or topics for me to talk about, definitely send me a DM and I will add it into the rotation, okay? And I will see you all again soon. Bye.